Everybody, here's the status of your fourth stimulus check that you have to know. The White House has signaled Democrats are coming close to securing a deal on legislation that would enact the administration's social safety net agenda after President Biden met with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer earlier in the day. Jen Psaki said during a press briefing, "We're getting closer. We're into the nitty-gritty details, and there is agreement about some fundamental investments in our society." According to Psaki, Biden would prefer to get a deal before he leaves for an overseas trip next week, and that he will continue making calls over the weekend with members of Congress. So while Psaki said there's an agreement on a number of areas, a top-line number for how much the bill will cost has not been reached, along with a number of other details.
Sheets. Instead of monitoring annual transactions of at least $600, they're upping it to $10,000. My next guest says it is still a power grab aimed at the middle class. Mark Brnovich is Arizona's Attorney General. Good to see you again, Mark. Thanks for coming in. The problem is it is still aimed at the middle class. There's the organization, the Joint Committee on Taxation, which is a nonpartisan organization, has looked at the numbers, squeezed the numbers, and found that 40 to 57% of the people affected by this are those making $50,000 or less. That is smack in the middle class, is it not?
It absolutely is. And I tell you, David, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. And shame on the Democrats, shame on the Biden administration and his enablers in Congress for proposing this radical idea that essentially wants to snoop and empower the IRS to basically look into all of your financial transactions.
Which, by the way, is supposed to be against the Constitution. The Fourth Amendment, just to be specific about it, says the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated.
In July, and let me play you what he said about his top line number back then. But what's your bottom line? The question is, this is over $1 trillion.
The bottom line.
Bernie Sanders wants $6 more trillion. Here's what are you? How far are you willing to go?
I want to make sure we pay for it. I do not want to add more debt on. So if that's $1 trillion or $1.5 or $2 trillion, whatever that comes out to be over a 10-year period, that's what I would be voting for.
So, I mean, basic math tells me if you have Sinema and you have Manchin, both unwilling to go above that.
If you just listen, Jonathan, if you just listen to what Manchin said, he said he wants it to be paid for. He's right. I want it to be paid for. And in fact, that is exactly what we are going to do. And if it's $3.5 trillion, we can pay for it because, as everybody knows, you got some of the wealthiest people in this country who in a given year don't pay a penny in federal income tax. Large corporations don't pay a nickel in federal income tax. So if
he helped create 200,000 jobs, drove unemployment down in every city and county in Virginia, not just in the sections of Northern Virginia that were getting tech jobs, etc. Every county, every city in Virginia, he was working to make sure the people got opportunity. Every single one. So when Terry tells you he's going to help Virginia rebuild a stronger economy that creates good jobs, when he says that he's going to invest in education and workers, when he says he's going to help families from everywhere get ahead.
But I'm good. Let me have it. Okay. I don't know if I have this or not. I can see you all better. Oh, hello, everyone. Mr. President, Madam Vice President, all the friends of democracy, justice, love, and hope who are here today. And thank you, President Harry Johnson, for your kind introduction. To you and Chairman Guy Vickers, thank you for bringing us together for this beautiful event and your organization's stewardship of these tributes to Dr. King. Let's hear it for Harry Johnson and Guy Vickers. That's an applause line. It's always a thrill. I'm sure I can speak for everyone here. It's always a thrill to return to the MLK Memorial and to do so today as we celebrate 10 years since the dedication, when we were joined by President Barack Obama and our former colleague, the beloved Congressman John Lewis. On that day, John Lewis said this. He referred to the monument as a monument to peace, to love, and to nonviolent resistance on the front yard of America to symbolize the cornerstone of our true democracy. Dr. King's presence on the front yard of America with Presidents Washington, Presidents Lincoln, Presidents Jefferson, well, his presence, while not a president, has brought luster to the front lawn, has brought justice to the front lawn, and has brought many, many more children to the front lawn of America. Today, it is a privilege, I know, for all of us to return to the mall with so many who were here for that dedication, so many who played a role in the idea and then the fulfillment of that idea of this monument.
When asked about the size and specifics of the bill, Pelosi did not specify a top-line figure, but said it's exciting because whatever it is, it's going to be bigger than anything we've ever done for the American people. In anticipation of a potential deal, Steny Hoyer informed lawmakers that Democratic leaders aim to hold votes next week on both the safety net legislation and the Senate-passed $550 billion infrastructure package. Steny Hoyer said the goal is to get the two measures passed before their next recess, which is slated for November 8th. Democratic leaders also want to pass the bills before Biden leaves for a trip to Europe at the end of the month. The president confirmed at a CNN event that he hasn't been able to get 12 weeks of paid family leave, including the bill, because of opposition from a few moderates in the party. That provision will now be reduced for 4 weeks. Another component, universal preschool, is expected to be included in the measure, as well as a 1-year extension of the child tax credit. Biden said Thursday that he wouldn't support adding a work requirement for the tax credit because all eligible recipients are working anyway. Under the bill, parents would not have to pay more than 7% of their annual income on childcare as a result of funding for childcare centers. The White House has said this would apply to low and middle income families who have children under 5 years old. On taxes, Biden acknowledged that Kyrsten Sinema does not want to raise a single penny in taxes on the corporate side and on wealthy people. And that's a cornerstone of President Biden's Build Back Better plan. Joe Biden suggested that there still are other ways to pay for the legislation without raising taxes on middle-class Americans. Biden told reporters, here's what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to make sure we pay for everything without anyone making less than $400,000 paying a single cent more in taxes. That's my objective, and so there's ways to do that. Among the options still on the table for the package are a 15% global minimum tax, closing loopholes for high-income Americans, and decreased IRS enforcement. Biden said that another key Democratic moderate, Joe Manchin, opposes a provision that would offer a free tuition-free community college, dealing a blow to the president's effort to deliver on a campaign pledge. Instead of including that in the spending measure, Biden said he thinks Democrats will be able to increase individual grants by $500